Am I not an NA?
You said US.
I was
You said
ruffled
USA.
I did not, sir. And I challenge you to watch the replay.
All right, well, we won't have to because Game 2 draft is starting now.
Wow. That's great.
Oh.
That's what you deserve right now.
Gracious. A ban on Omni Knight.
They
That's
got
not good. Don't forget about Naga. Oh.
heals OP, something that Slack's learned.
You have 2 of them. All right.
So, this go around, it will be same sides. NP takes Dire once again. However, EHOME now have first pick.
EHOME's turn to pick.
Could just be a straight up Bat Rider again. There's no Omni to go against it. And Nyx is banned out actually by MP, so obviously MP kind of wants them to take Bat Rider. If you're banning Nyx against them.
Bat Rider, Drow, Wisp, top 3 here that are still in. And there's the Drow, first pick. She was indeed banned last game by EHOME themselves.
I think I've seen NP do a Wisp Bat Rider second after a Drow before. You know, like this exact same way.
Those eyes.
See? That's a TI winner.
Those are calculating eyes.
Curtis Ling, 8 UI 2000, man of the hour.
You ever look at a guy and you're like, that guy is probably a secret agent?
5
No.
seconds remaining.
Well,
Never had that thought.
I'm having it right now.
No random fact about him. Very good at 3-card poker.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Well,
I know that.
That's why it is a fact.
This
Well, a
is-
factoid.
Now, speaking of AUI 2000, we've talked about NP playing Vengeful Spirit on the 1 mostly. First pick here. Grant, is there any chance they pull a switcheroo?
10
They could.
seconds
It was
remaining.
mostly, I think, more of a deny pick from the Drow again, like the Mob Hack said earlier. You don't
5
want to give
seconds
Drow and
remaining.
Vengeful. We've seen, I believe, SVG actually play roaming
Reserve
Vengeful, but
time.
lately it's just been carry Venge. So
It's pretty good at roaming. You can swap whoever silence. So once you get past 6, get a smoke gate going, swap Drow out of position. Almost always dies in those games.
and there we go. There's the roaming SVG mostly hero probably.
And that still leaves it really open too for like aggro try core Venge as well.
Okay, so they're taking the EG strat.
But they already have an ogre to possibly contest if it is a jungle.
True. Fast boots could definitely mess with that, but what if it's a core Veno? Put a
Then
mid.
they could, yeah, they are easy.
Mid Veno has always been a little inconsistent, I feel.
It's kind of unkillable, but it can be beat.
I wouldn't even call it unkillable. Like, just approach to the smoke, kill it, and then I feel like there's never a time where Veno gets kills over deaths when you put him in. It's very rare.
You just want him to be there, get some farm.
Reserve
Yeah, because
time.
your potential to kill somebody is so low, because you know exactly what his limitations are,
Yeah.
and he
seems like-
often delays his ult.
It seems like the core Veno is a little more scary in the safe lane when you can distract around the map and then have Veno just take over that lane, knock down the tower when they leave, and dominate that way.
Totally agree.
Feels like kind of a
EHOME's turn
interesting
to
out
pick.
game perhaps here for NP.
Oh,
In terms of these Drow strats that have been pushing in, even the Veno too, like kind of abusing that in the mid lane, like someone who can, kind of like the OD where that matchup's never going to be that good, but there's still certain heroes you can throw in there that won't really get punished. And like an Alk retreating to the jungle could be nice here.
And they've got really good ampers on NP side
10
already,
seconds
with Bloodlust and Venjora.
Yeah, I really like how open that Venge Ogre is too.
5
It's still so strong to go position 1 because although she is considered a weaker carry with the Bloodlust too, that is definitely going to help in terms of the early game, and you have the chance to draft to face head on here into the Drow strat.
Really smart third ban here from EHOME. We've seen the power of the Beastmaster mixed with the Vengeful Spirit, doubling up on those auras, damage, attack speed with Bloodlust. That gets pretty nasty.
I think we've actually seen every time a Drow gets picked first phase, we've seen Medusa phase, second phase ban. Just way too good middle, and obviously NP thinks Veno won't be middle, so
10 seconds remaining.
Oh.
Alright.
Yeah, I think it's weak there, honestly. Kind of limits
5
them.
seconds remaining.
Potential for a dual off lane still, I suppose.
yeah, Veno
Or
could just be a straight position 4. We've seen Zai play when he's not jungling, he'll just go straight position 4, which is not the greatest, but it works.
It's okay, just because by the time you hit level 3, then you can just jungle.
Yeah, exactly.
You give it like 2 minutes of jungle, you'll catch up to 6 pretty soon.
Trenton, our bit of prep for EHOME games, they haven't played any Venomancer in like the last 30 days, I don't think.
No.
I don't remember that. So this is a complete divergence for them, moving even out of their comfort zone.
If they have, might have just been like one
Like
game
one
or
game,
something
yeah.
like that,
So
but
this-
certainly not a consistent thing like
So
the Pugna or the
This is
Sand King.
EHOME switching it up. They're trying to adapt to this.
They're switching up, but I feel like this fits their blueprint that they normally go for. It's push the high ground, grab those cores that become tanky, that are great at sieging. It's very similar to Pugna, really.
Yeah, kind of that area control as well when you get into an engagement, kind of like similar to how they're building this wall with the core and the people on the back line. The wards can provide a similar atmosphere in terms of vision around you, control of the area, maybe stopping some blinkers from coming in to hop over.
They're banning out a lot of MSS heroes now. Oh,
No, don't show that. Those are
NP's
secret
cheat sheet.
notes.
No.
Thank God that was blurry. That would
Woo! Entire
Hold a
strategy destroyed.
Redact it.
those could be
Sama.
those are very likely things like drafting patterns. Like previous drafts that EHOME has done and how they reacted to certain bans and picks.
Yeah.
Much like the Elder Scrolls, they could make you blind if you read them enough.
Or they could make you a lot smarter.
No, or-
And you know how they think.
Yeah, they could make you a
Reserve
god.
time.
Yeah.
Quite possible.
The Batrider ban.
Witch
Yeah, we saw it,
Doctor.
yeah. And there we go. So it is definitely going
Oh,
to be
that's a
carry
scary
bench.
trio.
That's 3 stuns in the first 3 picks. There used to be a time when whoever had more stuns would win a game, and they've been kind of going back to that with these Witch Doctor picks.
I don't know that they'll do it, but talk about aggro tri-lane potential with
Yeah.
those 3.
What?
Yeah.
10
They
seconds
could.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, the more stuns, the more funds. So
I think they actually probably will against the Drow Ranger.
Yep.
And
Lot
Venom
of
as
kill
well.
power.
If the support rotates out of lane, then you
Yeah.
kill Drow.
oh.
So very likely early
Reserve
pressure
time.
into the enemy jungle with NP if they do aggro try, most likely smoke.
Yeah, and if they aggro on NP, it opens up a lot of heroes for MSS in a safe lane situation more than just, oh, you have to pick that, say, Batrider or... Wow, they're all banned out already.
Warlock banned out too. Like that last support is pretty tough here for EHOME.
Now, don't yell at me, guys. But could this be a good game for a Legion Commander? She has the ability to press the attack off a lot of stuns.
Dire team
Or Spirit
Potentially.
Breaker, you know. There you go. Also a good pickup.
I think they want to abuse the Legion aura. I mean, rather the Drow aura too much for it to be a Legion.
Oh, yeah, good point.
And Ventureland Witch Doctor are actually insanely good against Legion Commander.
Oh, okay, good point.
I mean, the press the attack is good from like kind of a support perspective, but practically, how's LC?
Oh, yeah, very good point. Very good
5
point.
seconds remaining.
There's
Purge.
Sylar.
Really,
himself.
how did you even come to that kind of an idea in the first place? That's what I'm most mystified about.
Reserve
I'm just
time.
kidding.
That's a great point.
Spirit Breaker, Spirit Breaker, third pick. I like this just because it's going to help offset some of the weakness that EHOME has. Veno and Drow are very easy heroes to run at. Once you chase them down, they basically have to put distance between themselves and you. And by having Witch Doctor, Ogre with Bloodlust, and Venge swap, at least with Spirit Breaker, as the team fight starts, you'll just have this guy charging through that you have to worry about just interrupting the actual things that MP wants to do in the engagement.
Yeah, it makes positioning a lot more important now.
What do you guys think about something like Earthshaker?
On
On which side?
EHOME, obviously.
No, I was thinking the other side.
Well,
no, there's not.
Oh, an
Because
opposite.
that'd be
I just saw the
offlane, right?
Earthshaker
Offlane
earlier
Earthshaker?
today, and it was so good against Spirit Breaker.
Yeah.
They've already got a lot of nukes on NP. Maybe it's a
Yeah.
little too all in.
It would have to be an MSS.
You probably don't want to do it against Veno anyways, just because it'd be so weak against wards. But
His heroes are limited too. There's still a Faceless Void, which you like with like the Witch Doctor and stuff, and maybe as a Vlad's builder too. It's kind of nice, but
Whoa.
they're actually gonna save the MSS hero.
Turn to
Okay,
pick.
that's fine.
Terribly.
That's a good idea. Save the MSS hero.
this is
What?
great.
I just think because he is going the safe lane, like he has a lot more heroes, and you pick the EE hero.
This is nice though. They're dire side with Avenge, so they should be able to control the Roche Pit. Always good stuff for the Terrorblade.
And having the Venge with the TB means every point of agility that he buys is another 28% of damage.
5
Yeah, when
seconds remaining.
Drow first rose back up too, it was like the Drow bans were coming out, and then teams would just go Venge TB instead.
Reserve
Yeah.
time.
And you still have Bloodlust for the Terrorblade also. So
Blood
meta plus Bloodlust is
Ugh. Good.
Spirit Breaker stun's pretty scary though. Veno damage, okay against TB, but not amazing.
We'll probably see this might be the EE. I think everyone's like, wow, he just bought a straight up Hood of Defiance on Terrorblade. Probably going to do that again this game. Won't be as
the same.
surprising now.
Yeah, I think you might be right. Just leave it at Hood and then go
Yeah.
back into regular items.
I think even just for, I mean, he doesn't have to. We'll see what else they pick, but even just for Saveno, it's good just completely nullifying that hero
Depends on how well the Veno has, how good his early game goes.
and how good Terrorblade.
I would really like to see him get a Dragon Lance though. He skipped it last time he played TB.
Oh
Wow, that's our
Yeah.
first one, right?
That's
That
gonna be a
would be
lot
number one?
harder.
I
They've
believe
got
so.
they've got good stun heroes for it, but the laser's amazing against all the right click coming from NP. They are very right click focused.
Wow.
I feel like they need something that can grab the Tinker.
Yeah, like the Slider is still there. Could be
10
one potential
seconds
hero. A little bit
remaining.
risky, of course, in terms of these laning setups that we were talking about, but they could end up giving him a somewhat
5
decent matchup
seconds
thanks to an aggro
remaining.
tri-lane.
It's good, but their damage would be so one-dimensional. That's what I worry
As
about.
well
if they
as
grab Slark.
Yeah, it
Reserve
kind of
time.
like right now they have a very nice balance in this early game, as well as like kind of into later scaling and whatnot with the Terrorblade. But they can watch this last pick at EHOME and try and fit what they need up against it on on the MSS. But I don't know what else is left. Like it's
What about just
Void.
like a Tidehunter or something?
Yeah,
Honestly.
Void, Tidehunter.
Get something that can start the team fight that will give them team fight advantage because they've got decent team fighting skills, but it's nothing amazing. A lot of ways, EOM has an advantage there.
Does MSS play Clockwork at all?
Yeah,
That's up in there. Okay, that's
I think MS
really
is
good
one of those
blocking.
guys who plays
EHOME's
nearly
turn
every
to
hero.
pretty much every offlaner.
It's
Okay.
an offlane puck. Is that what we just heard?
I think it's a puck
is that a
ban.
ban?
It's a fifth
Yeah.
ban on puck.
Oh, shit.
I
Not
like
to be
the
confused with Old Dragon.
I like the puck and clockwork ideas. It's a good idea. or the Clockwork and
10
whatever the other
seconds
one.
remaining.
There's
Oh,
the
there he
clockwork.
goes.
Both of them banned
That's
out.
on us. Sorry, guys.
Ooh, Undying now.
So it's an
Dire
off
team pick.
lane, like dual
Wow.
Offlane Spirit Breaker Undying? Or Spirit Breaker Veno?
It always feels bad when you start with that Drow and you
The
just don't
answer's-
even end up using it, like abusing it at all.
The answer is right there on his shirt, guys.
It's gotta be
Tide
inside.
Hunter. Look at him. What a man.
10 seconds
What a
remaining.
legend.
Mojo Storm Stout.
It's his hero. He's deciding.
5 seconds
Yep,
remaining.
they got 5 seconds in overtime
It's
here.
not tied.
Oh,
See?
Reserve time.
Timbersaw.
Timber.
How did we forget about Timber?
Doesn't really.
I can mention him.
Okay.
But I think what we talked about was someone who could help catch out the Tinker, and that's why we kind of took Timbersaw out of the conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's really good against Spirit Breaker. It's really good against Undying as well. It can. I think they grabbed it so that they can take it against the dual lane, the Undying plus SB. He can get out of that, grab armor level 1, grab Timber Chain, just get experience is what he's going to aim to do. While the tri lane just hopefully craps on Drow Ranger. That's always your goal.
All right, we're starting on this side. Prediction Slacks.
oh golly!
Who's taking it?
Oh wow! I feel like if Tinker can get himself an Ags and get a nice laser off, they're gonna be able to hold on forever. But with Purge's dirty look there, I guess I'm gonna have to go for MP on that one.
I'm gonna go NP. I have confidence in the aggro try.
I've been wrong every time so far,
10
and I've gone
seconds
against the
remaining.
North American boys, so I will go with EHOME. I think the Tinker. I
5
really do think the
seconds
Tinker's going to
remaining.
take over this game. It's going to be extremely hard to stop him if they get past the 30-minute mark.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give it to EHOME as well. The SB looks a little scary. I feel like they don't have enough Tinker solutions. They're going to have to gank the crap out of them to win this game.
I've liked the more aggressive
Prepare for
MSS
battle.
heroes so far this tournament, but I think this game, the Terrorblade is, or rather the Timbersaw is set up pretty nicely by the Venge of the Ogre. It's handing on over.
So is that an
with-
NP?
That's an
for you?
NP.
NP.
It's
Okay.
like
Did I really need to say
He's
it?
trying to get out of it.
Very
Next time.
crafty. All right, game number 2 set to get underway. We've got Annie and Capitalist once again.
Thanks, Iori. We are at what could potentially be the last game of the series. Again, winner of the series will move on to the grand finals tomorrow at the Bell Center. Loser, but they're going to be going home now. We're loading in. Again, I'm Android. That's Cap. What do you think about the drafts?
I think it's pretty cool. I think the idea of support Venomancer is pretty cool, panel, but it's a core Venomancer, you fools. Old 11's going to be playing that one, and I think he's going to be paired up with Old Lanham, the old boys sticking together and running some sort of dual lane. Maybe they put Spirit Breaker up there instead. I'm not entirely sure what that situation's going to be
Man, look
looking
at
like.
Sylar. He's loving those iron branches.
But yeah, he's stacked up to the gills. Gonna get gotta get that max efficiency, you know, out of the Ironwood branch and the Precision Aura. Give that extra bit of damage to your teammates.
Yeah, we've seen
That's the
Drows
true
earlier
role play.
today to start to roll out of control. What's going to be that, tempo setup for EHOME? Are they just going to come in at the 20-minute mark and rip things apart? Of course, they've got the Tinker they can fall back on if things don't go perfectly well.
I think so. EHOME are gonna have this combination, right? They have the Drow Ranger, which is gonna be strong and it's gonna be able to do things early, and they have an Undying, as we can see here in the mano-a-mano matchup
Lanham.
between these two strength heroes.
Please relax.
Nah, you don't want to relax here. Come on, you're one game away from going out of this tournament. You got to try and tilt the enemy as much as possible. So you spam that taunt button. You spam it like you've never spammed anything in your life before.
Well, they're going in the Spirit Breaker here. 1437 could be in some trouble. Again, one of the tankiest heroes in the game. His regen is stupid, but will he be torn apart here? They're going to bring in the Witch Doctor, the Coconut, telling everyone in place they will get the first blood. Lanham feeling good about that. Now they bring in Sylar as well. Can they actually reinitiate here? They're going in onto AUI. Do they have the damage here? Drow just ticking in with her right clicks. They're pretty pissed poor at this point in the game, but old Lanham, his taunts are well deserved now. What a double kill to start things off.
dance
There you
away,
go,
Lanham.
man.
Give
You
it to him.
earned that one.
That's right. They pick up 2 early kills. EHOME just pick up like how can you aggro tri-lane into these 2 heroes? Especially now that you practically gave them level 2. Undying can go ahead and pick up Soul Rip level 2, which is mega value. You're going to have a 1v1 matchup of Old 11 versus Timbersaw. Oh, Sylar's dead though.
That's going to be a nice quick kill back the other way. They should be able to find the Witch Doctor in return, reinitiating onto the Ogre Magi here. Garter, he's tanky, but it looks like Lanham is going to force the back here. Does not want to give up that streak he's accumulating right now.
Yeah, they real badly want to be able to get the Timbersaw 1v1 where he's able to get, maybe we see the Hooded Defiance, maybe we see the completed out pipe for him, because there is a lot of magic damage on EHOME. So they give him this 1v1, they're thinking, okay, we're going to hit this really good mid-game stride, well, we'll have this pipe, we'll have a really tanky Timbersaw, we're able to go high ground as he tanks it up, he pushes the front line, while we've got 2 relatively strong, actually not relatively, they are very strong pushers
Oh,
in
yeah.
the Terrorblade and the Vengeful Spirit, and they're going to be amped up with the Ogre. Everything looks great, but problem is EHOME have actually given themselves a strong enough tri-lane to be able to contest the AY SVG tri-lane situation here. Like, the Vengeful Spirit is nice in an aggro tri-lane, but you're facing an Undying and a Spirit Breaker. Like, you can't just right-click through those heroes. And then on top of that, like Old 11, where they have this core Venomancer, yes, he's not going to be able to shut out MSS. The wards are actually going to play against him as he just stacks up reactive armor on MSS, but I don't think that's going to matter too much, right? It's kind of like the Nyx Assassin 1v1. You're just happy to be a solo, you know? You're just happy you're going to get level 6, you're going to get CS, and you're going to be heavily impactful going around 15 minutes. So EHOME are going to hit this back and forth timing where I think they're strong for fight.
Oh, and he could be in some serious trouble here. The charge can be coming in as well. He's got some HP left. Can he actually get out of this one? Looks like, hell no, Lanham! He's just going in. This guy is phenomenal at this rotating Undying.
Yeah, that, I'm telling you, man. Soul Rip, such an amazing ability. See how much damage that did to the Terrorblade. He didn't stand a chance. And they just simply back up on Sylar for a little bit. You know, they say, okay, sorry, Joe Ranger, you're not going to get any CS for the next minute. Of course, I'm lying. He's still going to get some CS, apparently.
Thanks, Cap.
But either way, right, it's like, okay, just play a little passive. We're going to go ahead and gank up mid. There's not really much a Terrorblade can do about that. And neither can the NP supports, really.
There's an ambitious rotation in. Of course, it's Lanham streak right now. Maybe they can get it done. The Bat's going to be coming in, but they're not going to find their target, so it's just going to be EHOME regrouping back in that bottom lane. Now, what's the danger here? NP are getting some decent farm on their Venge, but Terrorblade not having a super difficult time spare that one rotation in. And up top, of course, MSS is getting his levels, is getting his farm.
Yeah, I think overall EHOME are a little bit happier with the laning phase because they're getting Venomancer, Drow Ranger, as well as Tinker. They're all getting a significant amount of farm, whereas NP are going to be a little bit harder pressed to be able to get AEY, a good amount of CS. You can see he's 12-2 right now compared to the 18-4 of the Drow Ranger. And I also think that you're going to have this really good rotation time where the Undying and Spirit Breaker are going to have a heavy impact in fights. MSS trying to pick up this kill before level 6 is going to be
Mid
risky.
lane, this is where the real blood's going to be going down. 1437, just pop down
Benno
like a...
could die too.
Oh.
Oh, Emma says he's trying to get the angle, but he knows Old 11's just like, I just walk straight down the lane.
Don't
I
get
don't
near
give you the
trees."
angle to trees. And Emma says can't get the Timber Chain kill, but at least he tried. I'm surprised he almost got a kill in that matchup before level 6.
Yeah, this is going pretty well for EHOME. I love that early mobility. The Spirit Breaker is a great initiator, and of course this Undying played in the hands of Lanham, one of the better aggressive support players, and he's just having fun with it.
Yeah, he is
Can we get a taunt count, Lurka?
very happy on this. See, he's setting up the top lane right now. I'm not sure what the plan is with the Venomancer, and when are they going to rotate him around? Like, what's their... Are they going to try and use him as a split pusher, use the wards to constantly push out waves? Are they going to try and use him as a little bit more team fight? He's got that early ultimate and try and contest the NP pushes. I think that's part of it, right? They're going to be able to set up for NP's tower pushes. They're going to be able to get a bunch of wards up. They're going to be able to get marching machines. How do you push into that combination?
Lanham, did he bite off more than he can chew here? I mean, he is relatively tanky. He's still got the Soul Rip and Decay stacks to fall back on, and it looks like Envy doesn't actually have the speed to catch up to him. Only brown boots on the Terrorblade means that, actually no boots on the Terrorblade means that, yeah, they can't get this Undying. Meanwhile, Old 11 still getting his farm up top. Like he mentioned, he's happy that he's holding his lane, happy that he's getting something out of this. He's not going to be able to kill the Timbersaw, but him not dying is a great advantage here now. Ignite sprayed out. There's the Timber Chain. Old 11 is surrounded by trees now. This is unfriendly territory. It looks like the Venomancer will end up falling. Nice kill for NP, keeping themselves on the map now.
Yeah, they needed to be able to punish that Venomancer because he's always pushed forward thanks to the ward situation, and Timbersaw probably can't kill him by himself. You need that rotation from one of those supports with a stun to be able to stop a simple TP out. They still have the charge on Eternal Envy. He doesn't have Reflection, which is part of the problem. He can't threaten any heroes. Mid Terrorblade goes for more of a farming build, 0-2-3. They also haven't done anything, right? There's too many fires out there for NP to be able to put it out. They have to deal with the Venomancer, try and punish his positioning. Is sitting so forward in lane, help out the Timbersaw by getting him a kill. But what are you doing about this Tinker? Old Chicken, he's going to be getting a very rapid boots of travel, it seems like, simply because NP are not able to put any pressure on this lane, nor have they been able to successfully push down that bottom tier 1 tower. So their aggro tri lane has turned into a bit of a failure, I would say. And EHOME are actually going to be the ones maybe taking the tower first. Drow Ranger already getting a couple of chip shots here. And NP, they can try and rotate maybe the Drow Ranger and see if they can change things around now that Timbersaw is level 6, level 7, has those higher levels of reactive armor. Maybe he can go bottom, especially after the tier 1 offlane tower dies and the wave pushes in a bit more. And they can try and give the Vengeful Spirit some safe lane farm at top.
Is it dangerous to leave the Veno all alone, though?
It is in some extent, but again, you have to deal with like a Drow Ranger's pushing down your way. You got a Tinker who's just free farming up at the mid lane. Like, he was not really scared of the Terrorblade mid whatsoever. He's scared of support rotation, but they can't do enough. So NP have to get pretty clever here. I think they can't really afford any wasted rotations, so they're going to bring, they had AUI TP mid to the tier 2, and the backup with Eternal Envy and Gutter Smoke can move both these heroes bottom. This could be a big play.
They're wrapping around. They're getting ready here. AUI looking for his target. Going on Garter's risky because he has so many ways to disengage. Looks like they're going to be going in for a big target here, trying to get Sylar down. And can they do it? One more hit will be successful. Now Envy, he's going in. He's angry. They are able to get off a nice little malediction. There's going to be no charge away for Garter. He does end up falling Lanham, one of the lone survivors of EHOME. Now Envy gets low. He does end up going down, but is able to collect a little bit of XP for that kill. So EHOME, very bloody fight for them, but losing Envy at least gives them something.
It's something, but Envy got the double kill, he got the experience for the whole entire engagement, and he walked away with a lot of reliable gold, so he probably didn't lose that much either. That was such an interesting, like I said, they had to get creative in the way they tried to deal with this laning phase set up by EHOME, and that was pretty creative, right? Like, they maybe expected Terrorblade to be backing up and going to jungle at that point. They probably had no idea that AUI was going to TP to that tier 2 mid. Envy was going to back up. They're going to smoke the two of them and rotate behind that Drow Ranger push. That was such a good play by NP that kind of offsets the natural advantage that EHOME's getting out of the lanes.
Rotation up the river. Looks like we are going to have a smoked up support duo. Don't really know if they're going to have the damage here to deal with Old 11, but they're certainly going to try to initiate here. Looks like they're wrapping in. They're bringing in the Timbersaw. Can they actually catch him down? Looks like the Ignite sprayed out. The Coconut to follow up. But the next dive onto tier 1 tower. The Maledict comes in. Ulti pops. Old 11 not holding back, and it may be enough to clean up SVG. He does not have the Voodoo Restoration, so he's just going to take a couple shots.
Oh, the ward got him.
Trying to buy out, and he is going to have that tick damage again. Lethal damage can be contributed by the wards.
So, there are little implications, right? That wrap around at the bottom lane, I love talking about this stuff because you can see Dota and it's like the ripples go out through time and they affect these various things, right? So the wrap around behind middle and being able to gank the Drow Ranger and set them behind and taking that tier 1 tower means that those bottom 2 supports were still assisting in that push at bottom lane. They just got it, but they didn't have any TPs. So when Venomancer's in trouble in the top lane, like they're like, all right, we're pushing this tower. We're not actually going to TP and rotate and help you. Maybe they could have actually punished that rotation by NP at top lane a little bit better if that bottom lane push was successful earlier and they'd already gotten that tier 1 tower and the supports were more free to roll out around the map. Because oftentimes once you Drow Ranger takes that tier 1 tower, he's okay to push out the wave a little bit, but
1437 is a dead man here. He gets one hit on the tombstone before he's annihilated 3 heroes, just comboing up and getting him out.
marching machines all over the place. I think they killed the tombstone, right? So that's at least some recovery gold.
Oh, the taunt as the Maledict misses. Lanham, come on, man.
Lanham, I love you, man. You play as dirty as taunting as you want.
Oh, MSS. He's going to cut Timber Chain away, but will get back now that Timber Chain's on cooldown. The reactive armor doing a fair amount to keep him healthy here. It is very hard to cut through MSS, but he's not getting much in return.
Undying, despite the fact that he's a strength hero, is probably an okay strength support against Timbersaw because he helps cut down that Timbersaw down to size. He's so tanky, but being able to take away that strength a little bit at a time really does help out in some of these team fights, and maybe gives the bursting potential of the Tinker opportunity to be able to claim that offlaner's life. All around, because of the slight rotations of NP, the net worth graph has not dipped too far out of control. EHOME continuing to hold around that 2,000, 2,500 net worth lead, but again, it's because the static laning phase and the way they set all this up was favorable to them. So occasionally you can see these dips downwards where NP make a successful rotation, but then the natural state of the laning phase will gradually climb that net worth up to EHOME's favor.
All right, so apparently we got word on our taunt count. We have 8 taunts out from Lanham right now, so thank you, production.
That's why we say stat people.
Oh, Slark, he's gonna get annihilated here. They really can't afford to lose their Drow, but he's going out first, and the rest of EHOME just failed. Very well executed there from NP.
Great setup there by SVG, finding that paralyzing cask and opening that whole entire team fight up for MSS to be able to make that entry with the Timbersaw, getting 2 very important kills. And they're okay to trade away some early towers to Drow Ranger as long as they're getting something for it. My biggest concern is still this guy who just TP'd in, right? Tinker. He's got Boots of Travel. He even has the Soul Ring Ether Lens that he's going to be going for. Ag's Ether Lens is a great pickup because it allows you to be able to defend against the Terrorblade pushes. The bouncing laser from a distance, what do you do about that? You can't actually do anything, right? All your illusions all of a sudden don't actually hit the tower anymore. You can't pick up a BKB or something on Terrorblade because then it's not like the push is still successful, right? A lot of your damage comes away from those illusions, so.
Venomancer now able to pick up that Veil of Discord. That's going to be a huge amplification of all the magic damage EHOME have now, and well, this could allow them to have a really successful fight now.
Yeah, this tier 1 tower looks to be going down. Again, the setup of EHOME here between this core Venomancer and the Tinker, like the whole entire game. You know, I was talking about how NP have to get creative and they have to smoke and rotate and catch EHOME off guard. They have to do that the whole entire game because when EHOME set up their base, wherever they choose to set it up, right, with March of the Machines and wards, NP can't fight into that. It's just too much, right? It's like, even if it's not under a tower, even if it's just ward set up, like we were going for that push at the top lane, how do you run through a March of the Machines, through a wards, and take, you know, maybe a quarter of your damage or your HP away before you even get to the enemy heroes? So they have to find ways to be able to find initiation. And the problem is they'd last picked a Timbersaw. It's not a bad pickup, but it does not give them the initiation you really need to catch a Tinker or catch a Venomancer off guard and burst them down and give you a numbers advantage.
Yeah, NP, they're still getting some high-value picks now, but like you mentioned, EHOME, they have the potential to just kind of scale out of control. The Tinker can continue to apply push well into the late game, and we haven't even seen the Drow strat really hit its potency.
I think in some ways our poor AUI 2000, the Vengeful Spirit, whose aggro Kindly didn't really go that well, he's going to have to take a very sacrificial role in this game because he is their best initiation. He's going to have to set Eternal Envy and MSS up for those easy kills. The supports can't really, it's not like any of these supports pick up a Blink Dagger and become initiators for you. So AUI is going to have to accept that role for himself. NP do get the tier 1 tower bottom, but much better trade for EHOME, obviously, with that tier 2. And I love the fact they're going to continue to push here, unafraid. They're going to force NP back inside their base before they back up.
Yeah, this is 14-minute chip damage onto the tier 3s right now. We'll see how well NP are going to deal with this, but again, forcing them all just to try to fight from behind their rack. EHOME have them corralled right now. They know they've got NP in the palm of their hand.
Yeah, when the game has become so much about positioning yourself around the map and what small advantages you get from this, you've seen a lot more teams be willing to make those high ground pushes because you're always going to force multiple rotations back from NP for the defending team rather, and that just gives you a positional advantage, right? You've got this top lane pushed in, you know, multiple heroes are inside their base, you can go ahead and push out the other lanes freely, you can take your jungle freely, there's so many opportunities that open up when you make that small play. Sure, you think they did what, maybe 50 damage to the tower or something, but they gave themselves a little bit of space. Naturally though, what happens is that teams smoke up and push out immediately afterwards.
Lanham's going to go into the Flesh Golem form, but I think he's still going to get cut down here. The damage coming out from the Witch Doctor's ultimate is a lot. Now Veno was able to spray out a really nice ultimate, and they've got this follow-up damage here that can make it lethal. Eternal Envy going to get guarded up by MSS.
He just need to get Thunder.
The kill. Thunder not going to be going off there. They're looking for the kill on MSS as well. He's trying to timber chain his way to freedom, but will get charged. They've got the lockdown necessary to really punish this. They get the blind off from the laser. This could be Venomancer damage here as well. MSS, can he get this alive? He's trying his best, but will not be able to do so. Old Chicken with a triple kill in that fight. We're really starting to see the impact of the Tinker for 16 minutes in, Cap.
Yeah, I felt pretty confident about EHOME's draft here, and you're really seeing why. The pressure that's been put out there has given so much space for the Tinker. He has, with that, 2,000 golds in the bank, on top of the Boots of Travel and Ether Lens that he's already picked up. He can get Aghanims. I'm sure we're going to be seeing like Dagon 5, Blink Dagger coming up, and like I don't know how NP are going to be able to play that out. Even heroes like the Timbersaw, supposedly the tankiest hero for them, who's going to get magic armor and that sort of thing, is still going to have an issue with this Tinker's burst damage no matter what. You have that magic armor, but Venomancer's got a Veil of Discord. There's a lot of magic damage coming out from him. You've got the Undying chipping away at your strength. NP is going to have like this very limited window where they can try and like maybe take control of this game and close it out real quickly and make this big upset before EHOME get like too big on their Tinker. The other option is maybe they just try and push this late and see if they can beat out a Tinker who is almost a solo core. Like, Drow Ranger is obviously still quite good late game. Venomancer kind of drops off, but he's better than he used to be, and he's got Drow Ranger aura, so he can still do okay. And those supports, they aren't necessarily the biggest hitters in the late game. So maybe they try and push that out to late game and just kind of see what happens. But I think their best chance at winning this game, just looking at the draft, has always been around 25 to 30 minutes before the Tinker gets too big. Because Tinker late game is such a menace. It's like one of the better late game heroes out there.
Oh, Dire has a nice scan there. Going to reveal the Radiant Smoke coming in. So Eternal Envy just bailing out with that TP, and the rest of NP just going back to farming. Now, Eternal Envy's Terrorblade, it is one of his claims to fame. He feels really good about it. It is his third most picked hero this month, but it is 0-2 in this tournament. Are we going to see that streak continue?
Yeah, it's kind of looking like it. It's not a good start. Let's see, 11-9, 18 minutes in. What an NP needs to do, they need to be able to open themselves up. They have only taken that safe lane power so far. You wanted to be taking like all the tier 1s just to be able to limit the Tinker's movement around the map a little bit more and make him feel more like a little bit more insecure. Because right now when he's got these tier 1s, he knows that even if he's ganked up by a smoke, like his allies could be able to TP rotate, and even if Tinker dies, maybe they can punish NP for that movement or something like that. So they needed to be able to take away some of these objectives pretty early with the Terrorblade pushes and Vengeful Spirit sitting next to you. But they haven't been able to do that, nor will they be able to until they find the right kind of pickoffs. And again, they lack initiation, right? So Tinker feels so free as a lark, just to be able to split push out, because the worst thing that can happen to him is that AUI is sitting on the side.
Old 11 coming in, has the ultimate available, and there's going to be a swap forward. AUI might be able to get the kill there. Latham immediately picked off. It seemed like EHOME were trying to tease out initiation, but NP catches him off guard. Now the Roche attempt will not continue, as Venomancer just drops a ward in the pit, saying that EHOME definitely have control over the situation. Meanwhile, Sylar continues to farm, so EHOME exerting pressure on multiple areas of the map right now.
That's rough. I would say this 20 to 30 minute marker is where NP, they get a significant boost up when Terrorblade has his second and third ability maxed out, and they've got the Vengeful Spirit. Vengeful Spirit's very much a fighting core, wants to be pretty active once you got like level 11, 12, somewhere in there. So you want to be able to fight, and they just found this great pickoff on the Undying, and they still did not feel confident with Metamorphosis and everything else to be able to go and take Roshan. That goes to show how far ahead EHOME got in the laning phase and how they're able to keep control of this game. NP couldn't even take an objective despite getting a pickoff right next to the Roshan pit.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the NP lineup, and it doesn't feel like any one of their heroes are dropping the ball or severely underperforming, but you look at EHOME, and everyone is just absolutely having a great game. There's no hero in EHOME that hasn't really exceeded their expectations for this lineup.
AUI, the best hero that can catch out the Tinker, is trying to position himself at that top lane to catch Tinker, but it's just inevitably going to be kind of one step ahead, or one step behind. If they had to actually, like, if they had done better in the laning phase, like some say magical setup where they actually do pretty well in the laning phase and they start setting themselves up, they either push high ground before the Tinker is really ready to go and has that Aghanims, the Ether Lens that we were talking about, and they take a lane of Rax before 30, or they could even do certain things like try and play just a closed off choke game where they have like a Shadow Blade on the Vengeful Spirit and they try and just keep all the lanes pushed in, and whenever Tinker tries to TP to one of the side lanes, they have those Tinker wards on the side of the map, right? And they catch the Tinker when he goes for these attempts at a split push. And they just control the game from there. But neither option is really there when you lose this laning phase, and they're just inevitably falling farther and farther behind as the Drow Ranger is abusing the combination of Venomancer with the wards and the Marching Machine to really push down towers, giving them a significant network lead, sitting about 6,000 at 20 minutes. They may just be able to take Roshan for themselves, as NP do not have an amazing contestant like EHOME do. EHOME have really good heroes to be able to control the Roshan pit with the wards and Marching Machine, who we talked about over and over again. NP at best have Timbersaw, who can chalk them over the ledge.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking earlier about when EHOME hits their strength, and this is definitely their first peak. When Drow Ranger really starts coming online, when she's getting her push in, and EHOME now at this 20 to 30 minute mark are going to be putting out an amazing amount of push. So it's down to NP to try to keep their lanes at least held, keep their high ground up. They can't afford to lose barracks yet.
No, they certainly can, but they may not have too many options. Look at how the map is being closed off, and now the Shadow Blades are on both the Drow Ranger as well as the Spirit Breaker, so NP have to stay grouped up, but if they stay too grouped up, then the split push of EHOME starts winning. They get all the lanes pushed in with the Tinker and the Drow Ranger, and even some of the Venom wards, and the map gets real dark real quickly. It's this combination of really good ganking powers by EHOME as well as really good push that is limiting a ton of map control for NP. We just have to look at them. They're split up in these two-man teams. 2 defending the bottom lane, 3 at the top lane, making sure that Terrorblade can get farm. It's not even like they're taking an objective. 2 heroes at bottom, not enough to stop Sylar. He's pecking away.
It is not a great sign when NP are using their Ogre pretty much solely to Bloodlust towers to try to delay the push.
Grow, tower, grow! Be big and strong. Stand tall, tower.
I know you can do this. Oh, swap back, but blink away.
Hold 11. Nice reaction there with the blink. They desperately need just that. Like now they don't have an initiation for 40 seconds, right?
Yeah, looks like our Venomancer is sitting on a decent amount of gold. I like the choice to go blink here, just really keeping up with the mobility. Do you think we're going to see Ags out next?
Yeah, absolutely. He can play a fully sacrificial game and just blink in and pop the ultimate if they really want to force the fight. I don't think he needs to force the fight necessarily, though.
Sylar.
Lit NP come to you.
Kept healthy by the Undying, who's just been a phenomenal presence this game. All those taunts, pretty much deserved. And again, EHOME, they just feel completely safe sitting here. They can keep spamming out March the Machines. Of course, they've got Tinker ready to go and push anywhere on the map that he feels, but they're going to keep up the pressure bottom lane, keeping NP corralled right now, because of course right now NP's not getting farm, Venge isn't getting farm, everyone seems to be starving. There's going to be a swap back in, they do get a reinitiation, they are able to find a kill onto the Venomancer. He's not able to get off his ult in time, but now Tinker, able to unleash some missiles, is able to blink away safely and TP back home, so looks like there is going to be a small pick, a small victory for NP, but this is definitely not going to be the beginning of the turnaround.
It looked like that was a pretty rapid combo, right? I didn't quite see it, so my track that was slow, but
swap in on
swap
the Veno
straight into Witch Doctor or Ogre
got.
Magi stun, right? They didn't even let the Veno get off the ultimate. This is big. Like, unfortunately, that doesn't turn into a team fight that NP are able to push out and engage into EHOME. I'm sure that's what they want to be able to do. EHOME just like dance away, but at least that one pick stops the push. It gives them some space to be able to farm up some more, and it gives MSS that Bloodstone. There's so many things that are on the precipice of NP. If they just get that one team fight, then they can really start turning things around, but it's so hard to grasp at EHOME. We don't have really good initiation, and EHOME are deliberately staying away from you in just kind of poking at your towers and saying, you have to come to us. You have to blink into us. You have to run through the Marching Machines. You have to run through the wards in order to deal and actually get a team fight out. And if you do that, you're probably going to lose.
That Ranger now double damage. This is not something fun that NP want to be dealing with right now. The March is going to be starting to take work on this tower. And there we go. There's going to be a tombstone popped up. A little bit of fodder coming in for NP, but look at the lasers bouncing around as Tinker picks up the bag. Stun coming in onto the Drow Ranger, but he's going to be able to fight through this. The stun's going to end. If he's moving back down to the low ground, Ignite's still on it. He's taking a bit of damage. There's Old 11 blinking in, getting off that aggressive ulti and able to do some damage now. It's got to follow it up with a couple more ticks to make it lethal, and NP are starting to struggle right now. You've got everyone just scampering back to the well. AUI.
No,
should
AUI.
be-
Oh, no. Couldn't even swap into the fountain.
His corpse makes it though. His final resting place is safe.
Well, it looks like the rest of NP is going to be resting pretty soon. This is looking real bad. They've already forced a buyback from the Terrorblade, but still not AUI. They can't fight. EHOME still poking at that melee rack. Don't seem to be stopping anytime soon. And they still have that Aegis on the Drow Ranger just to make things a little bit worse.
NP, they're really figuring out what to do here because they are starving. There's just no farm available on the map for them right now.
Yeah. They took that melee racks. EHOME, not one to push their luck too much, immediately dance away. The Aegis is going to be expiring soon, so there's no reason to force the fight. Again, like, barring like the occasional, like a little bit aggressive positioning from EHOME, EHOME's always been very careful about making sure not to actively engage with NP. They always set up their fortress, if you will, of marching machines and wards, and just kind of wait it out. They say with the Dragonlance, we're poking at your objectives, you have to come out sometime, and if you never come out, then we're going to take those objectives, and we still have potentially really strong late game in this Tinker, who's getting more and more massive over time. He's topped the net worth at 15,000, and his two other cores are not far behind him. The rest of NP, they have their mid-game items, but they're nowhere close to making any transition outside of that.
Pretty interesting pickup on the Witch Doctor here. We talked about the 2 Shadowblade picks on EHOME. To counter that, they go for an early gem on the Witch Doctor, which is something that NP supports really. It's not like they've just got piles of gold sitting around. That's a really expensive item that's going to further stunt NP support growth.
Yeah, it's because Tinker doesn't feel scared at all, right? So NP, when you're behind like this and the enemy team's playing like this positioning game, you have to make sure that they do not have aggressive wards over you, because otherwise Full Chicken will split push, because the world is already his oyster, but it becomes so much more delicious of an oyster if he always sees NP with aggressive vision up. They need to be able to find EHOME somehow through smokes and making sure there's no vision. And NP leading the charge can't really stop these heroes from running away from him.
Didn't realize he's not alone here, just trying to clean up that little snake put out by Venomancer, and moving up onto the high ground. We're going to be seeing 1437 pop out a defensive ward of his own. I mean, NP are playing so scared. They're clustered up. They feel unsafe initiating. Just cleaning up a creeper. That's walking them. They're going to go into the drop at 0-11, and they are able to get him down, but he gets off the ult. He will fall, but there's crazy amounts of damage on NP right now, and Garter just moving forward, trying to take down these heroes from the back lines. And it looks like FBG will fall next. Eternal Envy getting very, very low.
No, the dodge!
Not able to get off the Thunder, and that's going to be a gem on the deck, the freshly picked up gem from NP, and it's looking like EHOME might take this into a third game.
Halfway through the Sunder animation, Sylar goes ahead and mantas, and obviously Eternal Envy just loses the Sunder because of that. Would have to retarget it, and it's just too late. That little bit of split second there makes sure that Envy will go to the grave. They've got 40 seconds to again go for this high ground push.
I mean, look at MSS, he's just like, alright, don't go near my chakram.
Yeah.
That's a no-touch zone, but looks like EHOME are not respecting that. They're going to be climbing up onto the high ground now, and Lanham leading the charge. This Undying is ultra tanky right now. He's holding onto the gem, and a few minutes ago picked up a Dagon just for more magical burst, just to be able to apply a little bit more style points.
I mean, they can get a Dagon on the Tinker too. They can just burst down. Like Terrorblade is very susceptible to burst. He's like classically been countered by certain heroes, like way back in the day in Dota, it was like Zeus. Right, you just want to be able to burst that hero down, take advantage of his rather low HP pool, and take him out before he can get off the Sunder. In this game, like, EHOME didn't necessarily need that kind of nuking power, because they had other ways to be able to deal with him. They have a lot of damage over time, so even if he sunders, he could still take out. They've got the distance game that they're playing. They even have silence and disable to work with between Drow Ranger and Spirit Breaker. You know, they had all these sorts of things to work with, but now when they have even nuke damage on their side, it's hard to see how Eternal Envy, as legend as his Terrorblade may be, how it's going to be effective in these team fights. Same goes for Timber, same goes for all these heroes for NP.
Now, MSS actually picked up the Bloodstone at a reasonable time. He hasn't died since he got it, so he's got 14 charges on it. The problem is NP have not been able to safely leave their base in about 10 minutes.
Yeah, you can have all the charges in the world. It won't make a damn difference if EHOME can get Megas by like 35, 40 minutes. Kind of what they're setting themselves up to do. NP, like the timing I was talking about, like 20, 30 minutes, you know, they had a better landing phase, etc., etc. That's gone, obviously. So they have to fall back on the, let's try and push late game. And that is not the worst strategy in the world. Honestly, it's the only strategy that's left in your pocketbook at this point, because that early wave of power is gone. So that's the next thing we need to talk about. Can Terrorblade, can a Timber Saw, can this this Vengeful Spirit, can they outscale EHOME enough to be able to not just win, because it's never going to be an even ground against EHOME, because they have such a huge net worth lead. Can they win in late game against a late game Tinker and a Drow Ranger with also a 15,000, 20,000, 25,000 gold lead for EHOME? Can they do that? I am not sure, but it's the only option they have.
Basically, if NP can do that this game, they absolutely deserve their spot in the grand final.
Oh, for sure. For sure. It would show that they were able to overcome what I would say is a draft disadvantage. I think both of these teams have managed to get themselves a significant advantage based solely off the draft and the way they set up the lanes. NP did it a great job in game number 1. EHOME fired back pretty well with this Tinker Drow Ranger strategy.
Drow.
Fitting an Aveno into it is pretty cool.
Holding on to a lot of money. Picks up an ultimate orb. Is she going for like a Scotty? What's she doing?
I think you get Lincolns in this game against the Sunder. Just prevent that last little bit. Stops the single target stuns. Maybe stops the swap from the Vengeful Spirit, for example. I think that would probably be your best option. He could go just a stats, Scotty, if you really wanted to. Honestly, like when you talk about item choice in the late game and you talk about the winning team, it's like kind of up to player preference, and it almost in some ways won't really matter too much because all these late game items have their own little pros and cons.
Yeah,
right?
it's still growth coming out of Slark.
Yeah, no matter what it's like, you can pick up almost any item you want. You have like a late game bloodstone, roll chicken.
Divine Rapier.
Divine Rapier.
So
You could get a Divine Rapier,
Let's do
right?
it.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm down. NP, let's go Divine Rapier.
Old 11 going to be just continuing to farm up. He has been doing a great job here. Now has an Aghanim Scepter, so his ult is going to be even more potent. He's been doing a great job of blinking in, catching pretty much maximum heroes in that AoE. I don't think there's been a time with really good result yet this game. And NP, I mean, they're so scared that they're staying huddled up, and it just allows for Veno to have that easy initiation.
The little things, right? Before we get to the late game, it's like the little items that help NP be able to fight a bit better when they're trying to defend their high ground. That's the next step for NP. So, for example, Eternal Envy, I think he's going to get his BKB, in which case he doesn't have to worry so much about the first damage, doesn't have to worry about the silence from the Drow Ranger. He can just be able to man up against his damage over time in some of these disables and hopefully guaranteed get off his Sunder. He will still have a problem getting out damage after that fact, but the first step is securing Sunder, right? And then later on you need to talk about, hey, you needed MKB to be able to deal with laser, etc.
High ground push coming in. Lincoln's top as Sylar is able to go and make sure that Ven loses a bit of initiation there. She can still swap someone up to the high ground, but honestly at this point that seems like more of a problem for NP, because EHOME, they can just fight it out. It's bringing the damage closer to NP, so this tier 3 tower will fall to slow siege. Now Sylar continues to pressure. Nice gust connecting onto 2.
The gust was important because the Ignite hit the Lincolns on the Drow Ranger, and then maybe AY could have been able to see an opportunity for a swap there. And I was being really, really serious when I said a sacrificial role for AUI, because look what he has to swap into, Like, he's thinking about swapping an Agent's hero and putting himself into March of the Machines, because honestly, they don't have too many options.
Adam thinking about putting up that tombstone, will be able to do so, and again, Veno blinking in on the back line, connecting onto a couple heroes with his ulti. SVG trying to crawl away. The Voodoo Restoration won't be able to save you now. He's one tick from death, and the laser will start to clean up. They get the Timber Saw down as well. Buyback comes out, but Eternal Envy, he's fighting. He will not be able to live through this. He does not have buyback. He's almost assuredly a full lane of rat. Oh gosh, they are able to get the buyback off. Old Chicken godlike now, and the GG comes out. Looks like we are going to a game 3. It's getting heated here. One of these teams will be advancing to the grand finals tomorrow versus Wings, and one of these teams will be going home.
Yeah, this is good stuff. I'm glad we see this series go to the full amount, because game 1 was definitely, in my opinion, a draft win for NP. They crafted that lineup really well and got themselves such a huge advantage that it was very tough for EHOME to be able to crawl back in there.